Right, Anne, you're an Irish girl with a passion for Britain. It's a little bit unusual, but as I believe, the Irish, the English, the Scots and the Welsh are essentially the same people.
I agree. We come from, look, we've got a 1,000 years of shared history, where the culture is similar, the same, really. Yeah, I mean, I see us as a family, and the family that we fight each other. I mean, there's bickering goes on over the years, but it is a family, and I think we ought to be getting back together because now we face a common threat coming in from the outside.
Well, we all share the same archipelago, don't we?
Yeah.
There's 6,000 islands in the British Isles, and you've gone back 1,000 years. You can actually go back 10,000 years. I believe really we're of one blood. I mean, we've been intermarrying, intermixing and moving around these islands for thousands of years. And what has come to divide us, it's artificial for me, it's superficial.
Well, it is, it's like family rows.
Yeah.
Like family fights, they are superficial.
But they got entrenched in religious divisions and political divisions. Can we overcome these?
Of course we can. We have to unite. We have to remember our history and our heritage because, like I said, we're now threatened for things from the outside. And we've got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. And I say this for Europe generally. We've got to stop fighting amongst ourselves and defend our common culture because our common culture is under attack from outside.
There's an obvious truth in that because, I mean, you get a lot of infighting within families, but when there's somebody from outside the family attacks the family, the family comes together. Yeah. It's time that we come together.
Yes, it is.
So it's great for an Irish girl to be leading a movement which hopes on what the renaissance of Britain.
Yeah.
You want to see Britain flourish again?
Yes, I do.
How do you want to see Britain go into the future? What's your vision of Britain in the future?
Well, I think you've got to take the best of the past and bring it with you into the future. What we're doing is transforming into external cultures, external influences from the other side of the world are coming and transforming British culture. And they're taking the best of it away, like freedom of speech, for example. They're taking all of this away. The freedom that British people took for granted is gone because of outsiders coming in and taking it. We've got to revive all that's been good about the past. We've got to get democracy back. Freedom of speech is the absolute backbone of democracy. That is gone. It is gone. We have to get it back.
Are you being a bit extreme there and saying that freedom of speech is gone?
No, I'm not.
I mean, I know the parameters have been narrowed a bit, but we can still say a lot, can't we?
Yeah, but it all depends on if the police want to get you for it, they can. That's the point. They're not going to go after and get everybody. Yeah. But if they want you for a political reason, they can get you. They can make, if you read the hate speech laws, they will cover anything, and they won't. There's no need for any evidence. So if the police come up to me and say you are motivated by X, I'll say no, I'm not. I'm motivated by Y. There'll be no evidence that I'm motivated by X, but they'll think I am, so they can prosecute me for it. It's an open charter. Hate speech laws are a charter for abuse. Now, and they can be used against you.
They can charge you and they can take you to court.
Yes, they can.
How many times have they successfully prosecuted people for infringing?
That's not the point, though. The point is the fear they spread in society.
Yeah.
By arresting, this is what they do.
People.
They pick a few examples out, the press covers it, everyone gets afraid. And it's true, everyone is afraid. You go to offices up and down this land, colleagues sitting at desks, they won't talk to each other about certain subjects. They'll be afraid to say certain things and people are afraid. They're afraid. I know from much experience that when you talk to people about Islam, which is what's driving a great deal of this, they will lower their voice.
So one of your prime motivations is to maintain the free spirit in our society.
Absolutely, a free society.
Yeah, in a sense,
free, vibrant.
You're fighting for civil liberties.
Yes, and apparently that's fascist.
Now, how offended are the British that they've lost these civil liberties, that their freedom of speech is being curtailed so dramatically?
It's happened drip, 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 drip. They know, some people know something's wrong, but the politicians are against them, the media is against them, so they're confused. People are confused. And people do look to political leaders, unfortunately, to see, what do I do? What am I supposed to think here? And the politicians will come back with multiculturalism, open borders, globalism. This is what's good. If you don't like that, if you don't agree, then you're bad. What's wrong is you. You know, and we're the moral people, even though they're bloody full of corruption and they're destroying everything. They present themselves as the moral leaders, and if you don't agree with them, you're the problem. You're the one that's wrong.
Now, a big issue is immigration, you know. We've seen, and it's difficult to put a figure on this, maybe 10 million people coming into Britain since 1997. And no political party has stood at a general election and campaigned in favour of mass immigration. They've all said they're actually going to limit it. But the reality is the inflow has just got bigger and bigger. But when we try and criticise immigration, when we try and call it a halt to it, we are attacked as somehow being immoral. That's it's
exactly
morally indefensible to attack immigration.
Yeah, that's the point. But we're looking to our political leaders to see what's right, what's wrong. Tell us. That's unfortunately the human condition. They look to a leader to tell them what to do, and they're being told that mass immigration is moral. If you don't agree, you're immoral. You're not even allowed to think it. You will hear people, and I have heard people say these exact words. I know I shouldn't be thinking this, but. Have you ever heard someone say that? I certainly
I'm not racist, but I hear that a lot.
No, but I know I shouldn't be thinking this. Now, when people are saying, I know I shouldn't be thinking it, it means they've been successfully made to feel ashamed of their own thoughts.
But this is an ideology being imposed upon us. It's called globalism. It's about the softening of borders. It's about undermining our traditional society and replacing it with a multicultural society.
Well, it has multicultural societies are weak. They have no identity. They have nothing combining them. No shared, no shared values or passions, and that's the point. It's a weak society that.
Yeah, but it's a reality that we're having to come to terms with, because we do live in. Not only do we live in a multicultural society, but as you talked before, there are certain minorities which have now been empowered and have been given special sort of protection.
Well,
and it's the majority that is being actually persecuted in this multicultural society. It's about, are the British being dispossessed and replaced in their own land?
Very, very slowly, but yes.
Is it that slowly?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about decades, it's happened for about 5 or 6 decades. That's fairly slow.
Yeah.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, it isn't. But yeah, it is. The lefties will tell you that you're a conspiracy theorist if you talk about the Great Replacement, for example, which is the expression generation identity uses. They think you're crazy if you talk about the Great Replacement of the white European. And then they'll go and celebrate the fact that London is only, white Brits are now a minority in London.
And
so which is it?
Still fleeing.
Either we're not being replaced or we are. But they celebrate our replacement and then tell us we're crazy.
We can look at this numerically. I mean, in 1971, there were 80,000 Muslims in the United Kingdom on the census. In 2011, it was 2.8 million. And now, 2019, it's gone over 4 million. So it's increased 50-fold since 1971. That is a rapid transformation of society.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not slowing down, this change.
Oh, it's going to get faster.
How are we going to stop this?
We need to get rid of the politicians that are in government. We need to sweep the House of Commons clean. We need to do a lot of things, but ultimately that's what it comes down to, because they are the ones in charge. We can campaign, we can reposition them if we get enough support, but that's not good enough for me. This is crunch time. This is history right now. We are at the precipice of either dying out or saving ourselves. The only way we can save ourselves is to sweep out the House of Commons and replace them with people who give it.
Now we've seen, for example, in Italy, Salvini has come in with La Liga and there's the 5-star movement, and they've totally pushed out the political elite in Italy, which was regarded as a criminal elite,
it can happen.
as much as ours is.
It can happen.
I mean, overnight it's gone. It's been totally transformed, Italy. And this process of social transformation into a multicultural society, they're now trying to stop that in Italy. How do we engineer that in Britain? How do you see that politically we get to a point where we'll have a party strong enough to challenge the mainstream parties?
Well, look, the obvious answer is people have to vote. That's it. There's no other way of doing it. People have to stop voting Labour and Tory and vote for other parties. That's it. It is down to the people. And as hard as it is to say, ultimately it's our own fault. Because ultimately, like you said earlier, they didn't stand for a general election saying we'll open the borders to every Tom, Dick and Mohammed on the planet. They stood
people.
saying they would. Yeah. But we saw. They would say we'll lower immigration, and then they increased immigration. What did we do? Voted for them again. Ultimately, it is the fault of the people. Behind, the poison between the politician and the people is the press. And the press have been lying to the people for a long, long time. The politicians have been lying to the people for a long, long time. You know what? You see your town transform around you, and you still go out and vote Labour. Your kids are gang raped by Muslim immigrants. You still go out and vote Labour. Ultimately, I'm sad to say, it is our own fault.
But we've had two almost dramatic political transformations in this country. And I remember in the 2009 European election, I think the BNP got nearly 1 million votes. That was a party that was staunchly against mass immigration. And then we had in 2015, UKIP got 4 million votes. I mean, if it had been proportional representation, they would have won 80 seats. But even in a first past the post system, if they'd have got 6 million votes, they would have broke through. I mean, and Cameron had to promise the referendum to stop the UKIP surge. Now, both those two sort of dramatic changes in politics show me that actually there is an appetite amongst the British people for something different.
We'll see.
And against the globalists, you're also standing against the state.
Yeah.
And they will use all sorts of means to thwart you. Not only will they denigrate you, they will also make it difficult for you to operate financially, and they will use the legal system against you.
I've been at the receiving end of all of it, and none of it matters if the people go out and vote. It doesn't. It's all about the vote. If people voted for different parties, the Tories and Labour wouldn't be able to do this. It does ultimately come down to that.
If people believe there's a party out there that can radically change the situation and is a viable party to win an election, they'll rally behind it. The problem is, does that party exist at the moment?
We're building it. We're building it.
How are you going to evaluate its growth? You think you're going to see electoral breakthroughs? You've won 2 seats in the local elections, haven't you?
Yeah.
What do you need? First of all, you need mass membership.
Yeah.
You need people to get involved, to join up, and to support.
That's it. People keep saying to us, love your party, love your policies. And by the way, the manifesto of 2019 is going to be amazing. I can't wait. No party talks about the things we're going to be talking about. But people say to us, we're just going to watch and see what happens. Well, you can't. How long?
You've got to
How
be
long
engaged.
are you going to watch and see what happens? And the circle, the chicken and egg circle, is that the longer you wait, the longer it takes us.
Democracy is a participation sport, isn't it? Democracy is part. I mean, Trump talks about his movement in America. You see in his rallies how many people come along. You need people to, instead of just expressing their opinions, to actually get engaged in building an organisation.
You've got to. We have, as I said, look, it's time. It's time. If you really want Britain to survive, you have to do it now. You can't sit around and waiting to see what happens. Well, nothing is going to happen unless you start getting involved. That's the point. You
know what I would say? I mean, certain movements like the BNP, EDL, whatever, they become toxic movements, and to actually participate in those movements involved quite a substantial personal cost. You could lose your job. Now, does that apply for Britain as well? Well,
look, none of our candidates have lost their jobs. We had people who were nervous, but then they've seen other candidates not only not getting into trouble, but actually really enjoying it. We do still have the ability to go out there. These are our last chances.
There could be a general election very soon, especially with the change in the Tory leadership and the fact that no party can now command the majority in Parliament. So it's very fragile, any government. How are For Britain going to campaign in any near general election in the near future?
Well, a near general election is going to be all about Brexit. And there is very little point in trying to out-Brexit the Brexiteers. What we are doing now is building. I hope there's not a general election until 2022. If the Tories have any sense at all, they won't call one until 22, because I think they're so afraid of Labour getting in. And 22 is the latest they can hold on. I hope they do. But we're going to focus on a few seats. And I don't know what the future holds, but I know that our focus is on targeting seats in areas that we can win, like Hartlepool, for example.
What are the big 3 issues that For Britain are going to campaign on in any future election?
Immigration has to be one. Everyone has given up on immigration, including Nigel Farage.
Strong borders.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not only that, I will not call it immigration, I'll call it migration, because it involves a lot of things. Number 1 is stopping the shutting the
Stop
borders.
immigration.
Right now.
Yeah.
Shut the borders.
Because we've let
Stop it.
a lot in.
No more family reunifications, no more immigration by marriage. None of this flooding, bringing half the village from rural Pakistan. It ends. No more of these forced marriages, bringing in half the family. It ends. It all stops. We
Now, what
shut
about
down
the promotion
immigration completely for 5 years.
multiculturalism in Britain?
We promote British culture instead. We oblige local councils to celebrate St George's Day, for example. We oblige them to fly the Union Jack and the English, Scottish or Welsh flag wherever we may be. We oblige it. We change the national curriculum to teach children about the good things that Britain has done. We teach children the value themselves, their own identity. At the moment, especially white children are being taught to absolutely hate themselves. This
sadly.
has to stop. We will also increase defence spending and make the military worth something again.
Well, that will involve changes in the law as well,
Yes,
won't it?
but
I mean,
when
the
they're
ethnic
changing,
minorities
we'll
are
find
privileged under the law. They have special protection.
Absolutely. All goes. No more hate speech,
Hate speech
no more
goes.
positive discrimination, none of it. It's a level playing field, one law for all. This is a free country. Go out, make your life for yourself. Do not expect the state to hold your hand from cradle to grave, but we will create as much wealth and opportunity as we can, but go out and make a life for yourself. You're free people. That's the Britain I want.
Now, you've got a passionate vision there for the future of Britain, but some people say it's too late. I mean, the transformation is so great. You are confident that we can halt this process and reverse it.
Of course we can. Look,
are we simply going back to an old Britain, though?
If we talk, no, it's not about going back to an old Britain. It's about taking the best of old Britain and bringing it forward.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're letting it go. We're throwing all the best parts of Britain away. We ought to be bringing them with us into a new future. I think some good things have happened in the last 50 years, and we have made a lot of good progressive change. But we take the best of today and the best of tomorrow or yesterday and bring it into tomorrow with us. That's what we need to do. But it starts at the top. It starts with leadership. It starts in the House of Commons. That's why they have to go. They have to go.
And it's great to meet somebody with such passion for Britain.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're looking for funds, really, to promote this work that we're doing. So if you support us and you want to invest in this battle to save our nation, there's a PayPal link in the description. If you can, please make a donation. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell as well so you get a notification of any future videos we make. We're turning out 2, 3, 4 videos a week now, and we're going to keep on this battle until we win. Thank you.